Ladies and gentlemen, it's crucial to confront a difficult reality. Human beings are capable of doing things that harm others, both consciously and unconsciously. As much as we wish to believe in the goodness of every person, there are always individuals who consistently choose paths that damage the fabric of society. But why is this the case? And more importantly, what can we learn about our own moral development from these patterns of behavior? Understanding the nature of human behavior is a key element in addressing the challenges posed by harmful individuals. Human behavior is shaped by a complex interplay of psychological, social, and environmental factors, which means that when we observe negative or destructive actions, we must consider the root causes that drive such behavior. It is crucial to examine how individuals develop morally and psychologically, and why some may fall into patterns of harmful actions while others choose more virtuous paths, and the limitation that arises from individual judgment and self-reflection. At the heart of understanding human behavior is the recognition that our actions are not simply the result of immediate impulses or superficial decisions. They are informed by deeper beliefs, past experiences, and an internalized worldview. A person's behavior is often a reflection of how they understand the world, themselves, and others. If their worldview is shaped by a lack of empathy, an emphasis on self-interest, or a history of trauma and neglect, these factors can manifest in actions that harm others. And one critical factor in human behavior is the concept of self-awareness, or the ability to reflect on one's actions and their impact on others. People who fail to recognize the consequences of their behavior are more likely to engage in actions that harm others. This lack of awareness may stem from a variety of factors, including emotional immaturity, poor emotional regulation, or simply a failure to develop the cognitive skills necessary for introspection. Self-awareness allows individuals to see beyond their immediate desires and recognize that their choices affect others, whether they realize it or not. A person's upbringing, environment, and social influences significantly shape their behavior. Children who are raised in environments where respect, empathy, and responsibility are not modeled may struggle to develop these values themselves. They may instead internalize values such as entitlement, manipulation, or aggression, believing these are necessary for survival or success. Similarly, individuals who grow up in abusive or neglectful environments may develop coping mechanisms that prioritize self-preservation over empathy, resulting in behavior that disregards the welfare of others. Society also plays a major role in shaping human behavior. Cultural norms, societal expectations, and the influence of peers can reinforce certain behaviors and attitudes. For instance, in environments where competition and individual achievement are prioritized above all else, people may be more inclined to exploit others to achieve their goals. In contrast, societies that emphasize communal responsibility, cooperation, and ethical behavior encourage people to act with a sense of duty to the collective good. Understanding the nature of human behavior means acknowledging that individuals do not operate in a vacuum. They are influenced by the culture and systems in which they live. It is essential to recognize that negative behaviors are not static. Human beings have the potential to change, grow, and improve. But this requires a conscious effort to challenge destructive patterns of thinking and behavior. Change requires individuals to confront their own shortcomings, take responsibility for their actions, and actively work towards self-improvement. Let's review some terms to illustrate the difference between this category and those folks who truly persist in self-improvement. Without this willingness to evolve, individuals will remain trapped in cycles of harmful behavior, unable to break free from the patterns that hold them back from leading more positive, responsible lives. This is important. Understanding the nature of human behavior involves delving into the complexities of psychological, social, and environmental factors that shape the choices people make. It's not enough to simply label someone as bad or evil. Instead, we must examine the underlying causes of their behavior, as well as the potential for change. By doing so, we can better understand how individuals fall into harmful patterns and how, through self-awareness, accountability, and a commitment to growth, they can eventually choose a different path. The concept of evil and moral failures is central to understanding why some individuals engage in behavior that is detrimental to others and society. At its core, evil can be understood as a pattern of actions that deliberately cause harm, undermine trust, and violate ethical principles. It is not merely about isolated instances of wrongdoing, but about a consistent disregard for the well-being of others and the moral order. The complexity of human nature means that what we define as evil often emerges from a combination of personal failings, unaddressed psychological struggles, and harmful environmental influences. These moral failures do not arise in a vacuum, but are shaped by a variety of factors that allow individuals to justify harmful actions and ignore the impact of their behavior on others. One of the key components of moral failure is the refusal to acknowledge or take responsibility for one's actions. People who engage in harmful behavior often do so with the belief that they are not accountable for the consequences of their actions. This lack of accountability is a significant barrier to personal growth and social harmony. When individuals fail to recognize the damage they cause, they become disconnected from the moral framework that holds society together. This detachment allows them to rationalize their actions, often by shifting blame to external factors, such as society, their upbringing, or other individuals. In essence, they adopt a mindset of victimhood, absolving themselves of responsibility, and in doing so, perpetuating a cycle of moral failure that affects those around them. A lack of empathy is a defining characteristic of moral failure. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, is the foundation of ethical behavior and moral decision-making. Without empathy, individuals cannot truly understand the harm they inflict on others, nor can they appreciate the shared humanity that connects them to others. This inability to recognize the feelings and needs of others creates an environment in which harmful behaviors can flourish. When individuals operate without empathy, they view others as mere obstacles or tools to be manipulated, rather than as beings with intrinsic worth and dignity. This dehumanization of others is often a precursor to destructive behaviors such as manipulation, exploitation, and violence. And so, moral failure can be a result of an individual's inability or unwillingness to align their actions with their values. People often know what is right, yet they choose to ignore or distort their ethical beliefs in favor of short-term gains or self-interest. This dissonance between what one knows to be right and what one chooses to do can lead to a breakdown of moral integrity. Over time, these small compromises accumulate, gradually eroding a person's moral foundation. When individuals fail to hold themselves to the highest standards of behavior, they open the door to further lapses in judgment, which eventually lead to actions that harm others. It is important to recognize that moral failures are not always the result of a deliberate intention to do evil. Often they emerge from a failure to recognize the consequences of one's actions or a lack of self-awareness. However, this does not absolve individuals of their moral responsibility. While external factors such as upbringing and social environment can influence behavior, they do not completely determine it. The ability to choose between right and wrong remains, and it is through making conscious, responsible decisions that individuals maintain their moral compass. The failure to make these responsible choices and the subsequent harm that follows is what ultimately constitutes moral failure. Moral failures and the concept of evil are deeply intertwined with the psychological, social, and moral development of individuals. It is through a failure to take responsibility for one's actions, a lack of empathy, and the deliberate disconnection between one's values and actions that individuals fall into patterns of harmful behavior. And yet, understanding the complexity of these moral failures allows us to recognize that while evil may be an ever-present possibility in human nature, it is not inevitable. Through self-awareness, empathy, and a commitment to living in accordance with our ethical beliefs, we can resist the allure of moral failure and choose paths of righteousness and integrity. The role of discipline and responsibility in shaping behavior cannot be overstated, as these two qualities serve as foundational elements for leading a moral and productive life. Without discipline and a sense of personal responsibility, individuals often find themselves susceptible to destructive habits and decisions that not only harm themselves, but also affect the broader society. Discipline refers to the ability to regulate one's own behavior, maintain focus, and adhere to principles, even when facing challenges or temptations. Responsibility, on the other hand, is the acknowledgement that one's actions have consequences, both for oneself and others, and the willingness to be held accountable for those actions. These two qualities are intertwined, and when practiced together, form the bedrock of a well-propagating individual and, by extension, a well-propagating society. Discipline is a critical factor in counteracting the natural human tendency toward immediate gratification and impulsive behavior. We live in a world where distractions are abundant, and the pressure to pursue short-term pleasures or quick rewards is ever present. Without discipline, individuals can easily fall into patterns of procrastination, indulgence, and irresponsibility, all of which ultimately lead to negative outcomes. This is what I mean by discipline. The ability to delay gratification, control one's impulses, and maintain focus on long-term goals is essential for success in any domain, whether it be personal development, professional achievement, or cultivating healthy relationships. Discipline ensures that individuals do not succumb to the immediate satisfaction of destructive behavior, but instead invest in actions that lead to sustainable growth and positive change. Discipline is not just about resisting temptation or maintaining focus on goals. It is also about maintaining consistency in the face of adversity. Life is inherently unpredictable, and challenges will inevitably arise. Whether it's dealing with personal hardship, professional setbacks, or the failure of relationships, discipline helps individuals maintain a sense of order and direction despite external circumstances. This steadfastness in the face of difficulty is what enables people to rise above the chaos of life and remain committed to their values and goals. Those who lack discipline, however, are more likely to be swayed by adversity, giving up or resorting to unhealthy coping mechanisms when faced with difficult situations. Alongside discipline, responsibility plays an equally significant role in shaping behavior. The concept of responsibility involves recognizing that every action has a ripple effect, and that our choices impact not only our own lives, but the lives of those around us. Individuals who lack responsibility often fail to take ownership of their behavior, preferring instead to blame external circumstances, other people, or society for their failures. This refusal to accept accountability fosters a victim mentality, which undermines personal growth and perpetuates a cycle of harm. Taking responsibility for one's actions means confronting the uncomfortable truth that we, as individuals, are the architects of our own experiences. It means acknowledging that, while external forces may influence our circumstances, we still have the power to choose how we respond to those circumstances. Ability is the cornerstone of trust. In relationships, whether personal or professional, trust is built upon the belief that others will follow through on their commitments and act with integrity. Without a sense of responsibility, individuals cannot be relied upon to uphold their word or meet their obligations. This breakdown of trust can lead to the unraveling of relationships and the creation of toxic environments where manipulation, deceit, and betrayal take hold. Responsible individuals, on the other hand, understand the weight of their commitments and honor them, thereby fostering environments where trust, respect, and cooperation can thrive. 3. When individuals embrace both discipline and responsibility, they not only build a life of integrity and achievement for themselves, but also contribute to the well-being of society as a whole. The positive ripple effects of responsible and disciplined behavior extend outward, influencing families, communities, and even nations. And you as a leader, when people take responsibility for their actions and commit to disciplined growth, they become more reliable, more empathetic, and more capable of contributing meaningfully to society. Conversely, a lack of discipline and responsibility breeds chaos, resentment, and decay, both on a personal level and within society at large. Discipline and responsibility are essential tools for navigating life's complexities. They empower individuals to make decisions that align with their highest values, resist the lure of short-term satisfaction, and cultivate the personal integrity necessary to thrive in an interconnected world. The failure to develop these qualities leaves individuals vulnerable to self-destructive tendencies and moral failures, contributing to a cycle of harm that can only be broken through conscious effort and personal commitment to growth. The importance of personal development and integrity cannot be understated, as they are foundational to not only an individual's sense of self, but also their interactions with others and their broader contributions to society. Personal development is the process of continuous growth in one's skills, character, and understanding of the world. Integrity, on the other hand, is the quality of being truthful, consistent, and morally upright in one's actions and beliefs. Together, they form a powerful combination that can elevate individuals to a higher standard of living, where they are not only aware of their own potential, but also committed to doing what is right, regardless of external pressures or temptations. At the heart of personal development is the idea that growth is an ongoing process. It involves the constant effort to improve oneself, whether through gaining new knowledge, honing existing skills, or cultivating emotional and psychological resilience. A person who prioritizes personal development is never satisfied with stagnation, but seeks to better themselves in all aspects of life. This might mean dedicating time to education, building healthy habits, or learning how to navigate complex social dynamics. Growth is not just about acquiring more material possessions or accolades. It is about becoming a better version of oneself, one who is capable of handling life's challenges with maturity and wisdom. When individuals commit to personal development, they are less likely to fall prey to negative patterns of behavior and more likely to make decisions that are reflective of their highest potential. Integrity plays an equally crucial role in this process of development. It serves as the compass by which individuals navigate their lives and make decisions. A person of integrity is consistent in their beliefs, actions, and words, ensuring that they act in alignment with their values even when no one is watching. Integrity means doing the right thing, even when it is difficult or inconvenient. And it requires a deep commitment to truth and fairness. Without integrity, personal development loses its meaning, as one's actions are no longer guided by principles, but by convenience or self-interest. When integrity is compromised, personal growth becomes superficial, as individuals may choose to act in ways that are expedient rather than ethical. The synergy between personal development and integrity becomes evident when we consider the broader impact of an individual's behavior on society. Personal development empowers people to reach their full potential, but it is integrity that ensures that this potential is used for good. Individuals who are committed to both growing themselves and maintaining their moral compass are more likely to contribute positively to their communities and to act in ways that benefit the collective good. Their actions inspire trust, foster cooperation, and set an example for others to follow. Conversely, individuals who prioritize personal development without integrity may achieve success, but their success will be hollow, as it is built on a foundation of deceit, manipulation, or selfishness. They may gain temporary rewards, but their actions will eventually erode trust and undermine relationships. Integrity fosters a sense of self-respect and inner peace. When people act in accordance with their values, they experience less internal conflict. They know that their actions are aligned with their beliefs, which leads to a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. The absence of integrity, on the other hand, often leads to guilt, shame, and a loss of self-worth. A person who compromises their values for personal gain or to avoid discomfort may temporarily avoid negative consequences, but they will ultimately find themselves at odds with their true self. The dissonance between what they believe and how they act will create emotional turmoil that will hinder their growth and development in the long run. Personal development and integrity also contribute to the strength of relationships. Trust, the foundation of any healthy relationship, is built on integrity. When individuals act with honesty and consistency, they inspire trust in others. This trust allows for deeper connections, more meaningful interactions, and mutual respect. Without integrity, relationships are fragile and prone to manipulation, dishonesty, and exploitation. Integrity ensures that relationships are built on truth and respect, creating a solid foundation that can withstand the challenges that inevitably arise in life. Personal development and integrity are not separate endeavors, but two sides of the same coin. Personal development allows individuals to grow and expand their potential, while integrity ensures that this growth is aligned with moral principles and societal well-being. Together, they create individuals who are not only capable of achieving success, but who do so in a way that uplifts others and contributes to a more just and compassionate world. It is through the pursuit of both personal growth and ethical consistency that individuals can lead lives of true purpose and meaning. Toxicity in individuals can have a profound and far-reaching impact on society, as the behaviors of those who harbor negative tendencies can ripple outwards, affecting their relationships, workplaces, communities, and even entire nations. Toxic behavior refers to patterns of thought and action that are harmful, divisive, and ultimately destructive to others. Impurity, whether it manifests in manipulation, deceit, excessive control, or emotional abuse, toxic individuals create environments where trust, cooperation, and empathy are undermined. The effect of this toxicity is not limited to the individuals directly involved, but extends outward, poisoning the broader social ecosystem. Understanding the nature of this toxicity and its consequences is critical to addressing and mitigating its damage. I'm also aware that some aspects of toxicity is critical to addressing and mitigating its damage. One of the most insidious aspects of toxicity is how it spreads. Toxic individuals often exert influence through manipulation and coercion, using emotional or psychological tactics to control others. They may create an atmosphere of fear, uncertainty, or guilt to ensure that their needs are met, disregarding the well-being of others in the process. These tactics erode trust, which is the cornerstone of any healthy relationship or community. Once trust is damaged, it becomes difficult, if not impossible, to rebuild. People become wary of one another, reluctant to cooperate, and increasingly isolated in their experiences. This breakdown of trust within relationships and communities ultimately leads to fragmentation, where individuals are no longer able to work together for the common good. Toxic individuals often perpetuate a cycle of negativity that is self-reinforcing. When people are subjected to toxic behavior, they may begin to internalize the negativity, developing their own toxic patterns as a form of defense or adaptation. For instance, someone who is repeatedly manipulated or mistreated might begin to distrust others or adopt harmful behaviors themselves as a way to protect their vulnerability. Over time, these individuals may become part of the toxic culture, perpetuating the cycle rather than breaking free from it. The toxicity becomes embedded in the fabric of relationships and communities, making it more difficult to address or heal from. This cycle feeds on itself, causing a decline in mental and emotional well-being for all involved. The damage caused by toxic individuals also extends to the workplace and other collective environments. In professional settings, toxic behavior can manifest in bullying, undermining colleagues, sabotaging projects, or spreading rumors. This creates a toxic work culture where collaboration is stifled, creativity is suppressed, and morale plummets. The effects can be far-reaching, impacting not just the individuals who are directly targeted, but the organization as a whole. Productivity declines, innovation suffers, and the overall well-being of employees deteriorates. A toxic work environment can also increase turnover rates, leading to a loss of talent and diminished organizational cohesion. The longer the toxicity is allowed to persist, the more entrenched it becomes, creating a toxic culture that is difficult to eradicate. Toxicity also impacts broader societal structures, where it can lead to divisions, conflict, and a lack of social cohesion. In political spheres, for example, toxic behavior can manifest as divisive rhetoric, corruption, or exploitation of power. Leaders who engage in toxic behavior create a climate of distrust and animosity, polarizing populations and fostering division rather than unity. This type of behavior can prevent progress, as individuals and groups become more focused on opposing one another than on solving shared problems. Social movements and political agendas become hijacked by toxic elements, where the pursuit of power or personal gain takes precedence over the common good. The long-term effect of such toxicity is the erosion of social stability and the breakdown of cooperative efforts aimed at addressing critical issues. The emotional and psychological toll of toxicity cannot be overlooked. Individuals who are surrounded by toxic behavior experience significant stress, anxiety, and a diminished sense of self-worth. Over time, this emotional burden can lead to depression, burnout, and even physical health problems. The constant exposure to negative, manipulative, or abusive behavior wears down an individual's resilience, leaving them vulnerable to further harm. Additionally, toxic environments foster a sense of helplessness, as people feel powerless to change the dynamics around them. This sense of powerlessness can lead to apathy or resignation, where individuals no longer feel motivated to work toward positive change. Toxicity is a destructive force that has far-reaching consequences for individuals, communities, and societies. It erodes trust, damages relationships, creates toxic environments, and stifles progress. It is essential to recognize the signs of toxic behavior early and address it before it becomes ingrained in the social fabric. By fostering environments of mutual respect, empathy, and accountability, we can counteract the negative effects of toxicity and create spaces where individuals can thrive. Only by actively working to rid ourselves of toxic influences can we hope to build healthier, more cohesive communities that are focused on collaboration and shared well-being. The ability to recognize and break free from destructive patterns of behavior is one of the most empowering steps a person can take toward personal growth and moral integrity. Destructive patterns of behavior are those habits, thoughts, or actions that continually lead individuals down negative or harmful paths, often without them realizing the damage they are causing. And these patterns can manifest in a variety of ways, such as addiction, self-sabotage, toxic relationships, or destructive thinking. The process of breaking free from these patterns is not simple, but it is essential for individuals who wish to live more fulfilling, responsible, and ethical lives. It requires deep self-awareness, a commitment to change, and the courage to confront difficult truths about oneself. Breaking free from destructive patterns starts with the recognition of these patterns. It is often easier to see the negative behaviors in others than in ourselves, and this is where self-awareness plays a pivotal role. People who are caught in destructive cycles often fail to recognize how their actions are undermining their own happiness or well-being. This might be due to denial, ignorance, or a lack of emotional insight. In many cases, individuals may be too focused on immediate gratification or too entrenched in their habits to take a step back and assess the long-term consequences of their actions. The first step in breaking these patterns is to develop a heightened sense of self-awareness, to recognize the behaviors that are causing harm, and to understand how they fit into broader cycles of dysfunction. Once destructive patterns are identified, the next step is to confront them head-on. This requires honesty and a willingness to look at oneself without judgment or defensiveness. Confronting destructive behavior often involves acknowledging personal flaws and recognizing the role these behaviors have played in creating negative outcomes. It can be a difficult and uncomfortable process, as it forces individuals to face the pain of their own mistakes, regrets, or misdeeds. However, this confrontation is necessary for growth. It is only by acknowledging the root causes of destructive behaviors that individuals can begin to take responsibility for their actions and make the conscious decision to change. This step is about accepting accountability, not just for the immediate consequences of one's actions, but for the ongoing impact they have on others. Once individuals take responsibility for their destructive behavior, the next challenge is to make a sustained effort to change. This often requires a fundamental shift in mindset and approach. It is easy to slip back into old habits when faced with stress, temptation, or discomfort. But true transformation involves creating new, healthier patterns that replace the old ones. This process is rarely quick or easy. It requires consistent effort, self-discipline, and the development of emotional resilience. Often individuals need to develop new coping mechanisms, adopt healthier ways of thinking, and seek support from others to stay on track. The development of new patterns of behavior takes time, and setbacks are inevitable. However, each step taken toward positive change strengthens one's resolve and brings individuals closer to breaking free from the destructive patterns that have held them captive. It is important to recognize that change does not happen in isolation. Seeking support from others, whether through therapy, support groups, or trusted friends and family, can provide crucial guidance and encouragement along the way. These external sources of support offer valuable perspectives, encouragement, and accountability, which are vital for maintaining motivation and focus. Breaking free from destructive patterns often requires a team effort, both internally through personal commitment and growth, and externally through the support of those who care and are invested in one's well-being. It is essential to be patient with oneself during the process of change. Individuals who are trying to break free from destructive patterns often experience feelings of frustration, guilt, or doubt. These emotions are natural, but they should not deter progress. Change is a gradual process, and it is important to recognize that setbacks do not signify failure. Rather, they are part of the journey. The key is to stay committed to the goal of self-improvement and to learn from mistakes along the way. The road to breaking free from destructive behavior is paved with small victories, and each day of progress builds momentum toward a healthier and more fulfilling life. No, breaking free from destructive patterns of behavior is a challenging but essential step in personal growth and moral integrity. It requires the ability to recognize harmful behaviors, confront them with honesty, take responsibility for one's actions, and make a sustained effort to change. With patience, self-awareness, and the support of others, individuals can overcome negative patterns and embrace healthier, more productive ways of living. By doing so, they not only improve their own lives, but also contribute to the well-being of those around them, creating a ripple effect of positive change that extends beyond the individual. In conclusion, the exploration of human behavior reveals a complex interplay of factors that shape the choices individuals make, particularly when it comes to moral integrity and the impact of toxic tendencies. The actions of individuals, whether positive or negative, ripple through relationships, communities, and society at large, emphasizing the importance of discipline, responsibility, empathy, and personal development. Those who embrace these values and strive for growth while maintaining their integrity contribute to a more harmonious and productive environment where trust, collaboration, and ethical behavior are prioritized. The destructive patterns and toxic behaviors that emerge when individuals forsake these values create an environment of harm, division, and distrust. It is crucial to recognize the role of discipline and responsibility in curbing these negative tendencies, as they serve as the foundation for a well-performing life. The ability to break free from destructive habits, confront toxic behavior, and embrace change is not only essential for personal growth, but for the overall health of society. By taking responsibility for our actions, fostering empathy, and committing to continuous development, we not only improve ourselves, but also contribute positively to the collective well-being. This essentially is helping us become a resilient person who is able to handle stresses life throws at us. The challenges that come with confronting toxic behaviors, destructive patterns, and moral failure are undeniable, but they are not insurmountable. Through self-awareness, discipline, and a commitment to integrity, individuals can break free from the cycles that hold them back and create more meaningful and responsible lives. So, the power of this is that it is through these efforts that we can foster a world where moral values, personal development, and ethical responsibility lead to stronger relationships, more effective communities, and a more just society overall. The path to becoming the best version of ourselves requires unwavering commitment, but the rewards are worth the journey.